Toss to White. He's in! Patriots win the Super Bowl!
Welcome to Patriots Touchback Podcast.
Your soldiers of Gondor, no matter what comes through that gate, you will stand your ground.
Oh shit, this is what we've got coming through our house. Good, let's ramp it up, guys. Welcome along to the Patriots Touchback Podcast. It is season 3, episode 50. It's a divisional round preview show. And two things we need to bring up. First of all, we've got an amazing guest down below us. It's got the Kilted Texan, other known as Graeme Henderson. You may have seen him from the DAZN commercials, and also probably one of the most influential, most diehard fans I think I can see right now. His setup is absolutely amazing if you're watching this on YouTube right now. And to top it all off as well, Kieran, I hadn't noticed this until like about 3 days ago. This is our 100th episode of the Touchback.
Very nice.
So I never realized that until like a few days ago. I was like, oh, wow, I'm so unprepared for all this. But no, we got a very good panel on. We've got Graeme on for this evening. Graeme, how are we doing this evening?
Yeah, doing fine. Thanks a lot for having me on this evening. Talk about the divisionals, have a bit of fun with it.
It will be good fun indeed. Obviously, we'll be getting into the hard questions regarding of your defense and regarding of the team in general. And you know, I'm pretty sure we're all going to be homers when we choose our picks for this one. But listen, at this point in time, we're in the fight. We're the final 8 teams of the NFL. So guess what? We're in good hands, in very, very good hands. Before we get cracking with the show, guys, please make sure you smash the like button on the way out. Gronk spike the subscribe button. Tell all your friends. Follow us on social media platforms. Make sure you follow the podcast on Spotify and Apple as well. The Instagram link for Graeme is down in the description below, so go and make sure you click on that. You give him a follow as well. And also the Texans UK link for X is down below as well, so make sure you click on that. Give them a follow as well indeed. Graeme, the Houston Texans, they've had a very, very good season, finishing 12-5, getting the first wild card, which for most is actually probably one of the more easier ways to navigate yourself through the playoffs, because whoever you play is going to be the worst of the division winners, which obviously you played was Pittsburgh. What have you made of your season so far?
It was actually a surprising start to the season, to be fair. I really didn't see us going 0-3 to start things. Coming off the back of last season, there was, again, I think the same as the beginning of last season, there was a lot of Super Bowl talk hype coming into this season, but we really laid eggs in that first few games. Like, our offense was absolutely atrocious. The defense has been steady off the get-go and has built up steam and has progressed and gotten better and better with every game. The 0-3 start was a real downer. Everyone had us written off at that point. You go from Super Bowl contenders in a lot of these pundits' eyes to absolute no runners. Proved them wrong, fought our way back. Pretty much every one of our games was decided by one score. Could have been a walk-off field goal for the opposition. Our offense just couldn't score enough points to mirror the defensive effort, and that hurt us in a few games. Lost the division to the Jags. Heard a lot of noise out the Jags camp about how they run the South and that, just to see them sitting this week to watch us play. And maybe they were lucky to get where they were. The strength of schedule was really difficult for us as well. I think we had the 4th hardest strength of schedule this year. So, yeah, we really turned it around, but we still have a lot of issues on the offensive side of the ball, which I hope don't become glaringly obvious this weekend. But yeah, you can't complain that you've made the playoffs. That's 3 seasons on the bounce for Demeco and CJ. Undefeated in that wild card round now. So yeah, there's a lot of hype around this team now, especially coming out of Houston, obviously. But I think some pundits are getting won over. So let's see where it takes us.
I think you guys deserve an immense amount of credit for how you kind of saved your season after that 0-3 start. You know, like you said, we're being written off a little bit, and I feel like you've snuck massively under the radar this year, going 12-5. When you think about, you know, the Jags getting so much attention for their 8-game win streak, and there were so many people talking about the Colts, you know, having a complete capitulation with their season. So for you guys to be sat here as the last team standing from your division, playing in the divisional round, I think, you know, it's a real testament to how you guys have just knuckled down, got on with it, and rightfully deserve to be where you are.
Yeah, so that's 10 on the bounce now for us. You know, if we can turn you guys over this weekend, that's 11 on the bounce. You know, it's been kind of playoff football for us for a long time. But yeah, it's nice to be here. You know, the Colts at one point in the season, I'm not going to lie, I actually seen the Colts as the main contenders in the AFC, and maybe a lot of people did, and then they just fell off a cliff. And you've just got to take advantage when that comes, and we did. We hung around, we kept scrapping. 2018 was the last time a team went 0-3 and made the playoffs, and that was us. So we knew we could do it. Yeah, so a lot of buzz. Miko gets his guys ready to play on Sundays, and yeah, you've got to hang about and be in the dance, don't you?
You definitely. Big up to our friend Dougie Bell in the chat. I guess it would have been the Kilted Texan, although as a Scotsman, not sure about his kilt in the advert, but good to see him on the board. Hey, listen, it's only a kilt if you're not wearing underwear. Is that a fact?
Hey, yeah. Well, I'll tell you, they're all utility kilts, and they're all linked to the different game themes. You know, I've got the red one for Battle Red, white for Liberty Whiteout. You know, my deep steel blue one now. I have camel one for Salute to Service, and I have a pink one for Pinktober. The funny thing is, I was actually given permission by the Texans to use the logo on my kilts, so it's not just something that I dreamt up and went away and did. I seek validation from the team, and they've been supporting that since 2012 was the first time I wore it. So yeah, so it went all the way. It went all the way to the top. So it's you know, it's legit, and I'm proud to wear it. And yeah, I might not have the plaid on and that, but I think the logos would get lost in that.
I think it's also like an original design as well, which is like, actually, that's original. That's something not many people would ever think of. But then again, only people that wear kilts nowadays is people up in Scotland. It just seems to be, it's just that tradition. But anyway, I digress.
There's a lot of Americans wear them at the games, believe it or not. You know, they've all got their Scottish heritage. So I've run into a few guys, you know, ran into a Seahawks fan from Canton, Dingaling. He wears one as well. Just harken back to heritage, I suppose. So yeah, I'm not the only guy on game day in a kilt, and certainly not the only Scots in games.
I think that is great that not only you had the support from the Texans, but like the fact that, you know, because the Texan culture and Scottish culture are complete polar opposites, right? So for you to kind of be trailblazing that, I think is really, really impressive. And you know, everyone has their unique links to, you know, their teams in the NFL and stuff. You know, obviously with us being Patriots fans, there are so many similarities between the UK and New England because, well, I mean, it speaks for itself. Let's be honest. You know, you go to Boston and all the town names around the city are all named after places here, so it's quite an easy transition. But you know, to go from Scotland to right in the south of America, you know, right down near the Mexican border, like it's complete polar opposites. But it's great to see how you're, like, as I said, trailblazing that.
Yeah, just that mad mix-up mash. But if you go to Alamo in San Antonio, you see a lot of English and Scottish and Irish names were on the wall defending the place. So you know, there is some steady links there.
Let's get into the up-and-coming game, shall we? And I think the only way we could start off with is there's a reason why I clipped up a Lord of the Rings video and then edited to make it look like who we are playing. Because it is basically the equivalent of what we're going up against. This front four of Houston is the last time I can recall something like this. was probably, I would say, the 2002 Buccaneers or the 2000 Ravens. I've never seen a defense this dominant in a very, very long time. I know you got the likes of the Legion of Boom from Seattle. You had the 2015 Broncos defense. You had our Patriots defense in 2004. That was pretty decent. But in terms of the front four just setting the edge and just literally destroying everything in their path, I haven't seen anything like that in a very, very long time.
Yeah, it's fun to watch, on a weekly basis. It's fun to watch. Like, I'm a defensive guy. I like seeing the quarterback getting chased down out of the pocket. I like to see picks happening. I like to see plays getting blown up in the backfield. And watching this team weekly, that's something that you see a lot of. I think JJ Watt likens them to, I've seen in the title there, the Bulls on Parade from 2012. When you had some fearsome guys playing when JJ was there. They are a dangerous team. I just like how fast they play. Like Jalen Petrie last week was unbelievable, and he's had one of those unbelievable seasons. I think I've seen Kyle Brandt say that he even makes the Guardian cap look cool, when he's flying about there making plays. And yeah, so it's a fun team to watch on defense. And as you've seen against the Steelers, it was only a matter of time before the defense imposed their will on the opposing offense. It took us till like the fourth quarter to really, really dominate and get those takeaways and those turnovers. But yeah, it was unreal to see them limit Pittsburgh to the yardage that they were limited to. It's going to be a very different beast this week, obviously, because you've actually got a mobile quarterback, someone who can scramble and get out of the pocket. And sometimes when you're over aggressive, as we can sometimes be, you leave that space in behind. You get too far upfield. The pocket doesn't have to be as big for Drake May to start using those legs. So we can only hope that Drake May has a game like he did against us at NRG in 2024. When we got the big wind out at NRG. Like, so
was it NRG or was it in? I'm pretty sure it was at Foxborough.
Was it? I thought it was NRG.
41-21. I think it was in Foxborough.
Was that up there?
Yeah.
Was it?
Drake threw for 3 touchdowns, but 2 interceptions as well. I had a pass rate about 95, I think he did in that game.
Okay. That's even better then.
So, yeah.
I mean, but Diggs is going the other way this time, remember, and he had a breakout game there.
Okay.
Yeah, so look, everyone knows about the stars on this Texans defense. We know about Will Anderson, we know about Daniil Hunter, Jalen Petrie, Derek Stingley. What are some other names on the defensive side of the ball that perhaps fly a little bit under the radar that are just as important as those superstars that I just mentioned?
You have Togiai in the middle, defensive tackle. I heard Al-Shair say that he is like a 300-pound linebacker, the way he moves. And one of the commentating teams 1 week said that he's one of the strongest guys he's ever seen in a team. He's just like a powerful unit. He got a scoop and score 2 weeks ago against the Chargers. They actually put him in as a fullback, and we messed up the offensive play on the goal line. Never even got it handed off to him. So we all missed the chance to see Togiai get his touchdown, but then later he made up for it by crashing down on the offense, breaking up the play, scoop and score, and taking it in. So yeah, Togiai is a massive person to watch. And then you've got the Ball Hawks, Lassiter and Bullock at the back. Those guys play hard and fast, not scared to come up and make the tackle, quick on the screen plays. Yeah, so pretty much every person in that Texans defense this year has been a superstar. So it doesn't really matter whose name you mentioned. They've been pretty good.
Yeah, Houston's statistics as I got here is basically first on these metrics alone. First in dropback EPA, second in DVOA, second in dropback success rate allowed, third in takeaways, and fourth in yards per play. When you've got every single metric on the defensive side of the ball in the top 5, it's a daunting task. The only thing I will say is, and I've got to go back to week 16 when you played the Chargers. You didn't generate that much on offense except for 2 explosive plays late in the first quarter where you caught the secondary off guard. If I could see CJ Stroud for the first drive, maybe taking a shot like that because you're like, right, let's set the tone early. But the problem is New England don't give up the deep ball that often, if not at all. So what would be the game plan for CJ Stroud going into this game? Because last week against the Steelers, I'll be polite, he had a bit of a rough game, shall we say.
Yeah, he had a whiffer of a first half. But there's a stat, I think, out there that says that CJ Stroud is 3-0 when he has 3 or more turnovers. So, like even when he's playing adversely bad, he can still get it done. But I think going into the game, I think we need to reiterate what you said there. We have to take a shot just to put the defense on the heels. Don't be too obvious, but we will, I think, severely lean on the run in this game. Is it meant to be a snow game this weekend? I'm hearing rumors that there could be.
I'm trying to find an actual decent weather forecaster for this, and I can't seem to find one. So I'm just going through my iPhone, and apparently it is going to be due into snow at around 4:00.
Yeah, so there you go. That changes the whole dynamics of how you scheme for this game. You're not going to be airing it out the same. You might rely on the run, and we've been very lucky in picking up Woody Marks in the draft. He's been very productive. And then your second guy's Chubb, who isn't so much of a cut runner. He's a basher. I think Jawar Jordan might be back. Another rookie. He had a breakout game before getting injured. He'll be back. So I think it'll be a case of severely run ball. But CJ has to take care of the ball better than he did against the Steelers. Some of those plays where he didn't even have to make them, like the bad snaps. It's just lie down on top of it. Don't scramble, and then especially when you're given the opposing team short field, you don't have to run about with it and then fumble it and give them short field and put your defense under even more pressure. It's like just lie down on it, take the punt, flip the field, do whatever you can, stop them deep in yours, and then hopefully if you can stop them quick enough, they can't punt as far. You then have better field position to start. So he really has to dust that off from what he did last week and just remain positive and see what he comes with this week.
Ball security for both quarterbacks is going to be absolutely pivotal. It doesn't matter if it's snow, sleet, rain, or beautiful sunshine. You've got to take care of the ball, because what New England did better on the defensive side of the ball last week, which I'll be very honest with you, Kez, we'd never seen all season. And that was the first time we actually came up looking like, oh, hello, we actually do have a legitimate pass rush. And people say, Chargers O-line was the worst in the NFL by a country mile. That's fine, but the quarterback still has to make plays at the end of the day. If you don't make plays, then you can't keep relying on the offensive line to bail you out. But Robert Spillane made comments in his press conference. Apparently a couple of Chargers players actually approached him and said that they couldn't disguise what coverage we were doing. We kept mixing up every single time, and it confused the living hell out of the offense, out of the Chargers offense. So I think you're going to see a lot more exotic stuff come at CJ Stroud in this. I do think the running game is going to be pivotal for both sides. Awesome. New England desperately need to establish the run. I think if the Texans score early and then run the ball, then it makes it very, very interesting from that point forward. That's my 2 cents on it anyway.
What I would say just about the running game, and I agree, it will be important for both sides to try and establish that run game, particularly in the conditions. But what sets up well for us in that environment is Spillane obviously came back last week. Ellis had a massive game last week against the run, but Kyrus Tonga's back for this game. So now that we have Tonga, Milton Williams, Ellis, Spillane, we're at full strength, completely at full strength on the defensive side of the ball. we were the number one team at stopping the run in the NFL prior to those injuries midway through the season. And I think that we're just kind of getting healthy at the right time. So there's a lot of pressure on that Houston running game because, we bottled up the Chargers last week. A lot of that was due to O-line pressure, obviously. But, if Houston aren't able to establish the run, then that could be a bit of a problem.
Oh, a massive problem, especially with we're having the main target, Nico Collins, out this week. You're going to have to fall back on some of the. They're not also runs. They're good wide receiving core, but they're not your star wideout. That absolute security blanket. I think that'll fall to Dalton Schultz this week. So if we have to start going through the air, I think you'll find that there'll be some tight end sets in there that'll free up Dalton. But yeah, pivotal to both teams establishing this run game. I seen there the comment saying that it will be light snowfall potentially there, but you've got to remember, you guys are a North team that play outside.
We're used to it. Well,
yeah,
we're used to it in history terms. This is a brand new squad, so we've got absolutely no idea what we're capable of.
Yeah, but we're a South team that plays indoors. Like, the fact we have to play outdoors is to a disadvantage to us on a slight level, but it is still there. It's a lingering fact. I think sometimes in this time of the year, the northern teams that play outdoors have a heavy favor. Like, look how many times, talking about Miami, how many times they've went up to Buffalo at this time of year and been very good, and then weather's factor. So that could possibly play a key in this game at some point or another. But yeah,
you mentioned a couple of those rookie receivers. I was actually going to ask you just a little bit about the two rookie receivers in particular, in Noel and Higgins. Me myself, I was really high on Higgins coming into the draft process, and even had him going to us in a mock draft. Obviously, you guys took him off the board before we were picked. And the other player I wanted to mention as well that I was incredibly high on compared to consensus was Erionte Ursary. I thought he could be an absolute cornerstone left tackle. So how do you think that they have performed this season from your opinion?
I think Ursary's come in and done a fair job. He had big shoes to fill with Tunzel walking out. We all know how the caliber of Tunzel when he was on his game. So to have the season that CJ's had in last season, he's one of the most hit and pressured quarterbacks there was. I think that relays over to this year a wee bit with how much it looks like he has some PTSD from those hits. That's why he always struggles and wants to get the ball out quick, and he gets a bit jittery in the pocket, always throwing off his back foot and stuff. But I think Ursary's, he's seen how well he's played, so it's given him a bit more confidence in the position again. The pressure doesn't always get to him from that side. So yeah, it's just been good to get the O-line back to how it should be, with Titus Howard playing in more of a particular role that he's used to. So I've been very impressed, and yeah, Higgins has been outstanding. Like, I'm a big Noel guy. Like, I like Noel. I just think there's so much he can do. He's excellent on return. He can stretch the field. He's like that perfect plug and play for the injured Tank Dell. He doesn't quite have Tank speed, but he is fast and can snap some ankles when he turns upfield. But we just don't use him often enough. But Higgins will probably be a big target as well this weekend if we can get him involved, just due to his size. And yeah, it's good to see these rookies coming through and playing so well for your team, and obviously contributing on a high level right off the bat. You don't always get that.
Just recently, Adam Schefter has just tweeted out saying Christian Gonzalez has just cleared concussion protocol. He will play on Sunday. That's probably going to be Higgins.
Yeah, literally, just as we're speaking about Jaden Higgins, I'd expect that's going to be the matchup, right? We were talking about this in our group chat, Carl. Like, You look at Jaden Higgins as a 6'4" perimeter receiver who's got a lot of physicality at the catch point, and you're going to need a big, tall, long corner to defend that. So I'd expect them to face off this weekend with Nico Collins being out.
Be a good battle.
Yeah.
Look forward to that. Let's flip it around a little bit. Let's what have you made so far of the Patriots this season from your neutral standpoint? Obviously, we finished 4-13 back-to-back season, looking like everyone's, pardon our language, pissing on our grave consistently. And now all of a sudden we come back 14-3, and now everyone's saying, "Oh shit, the evil empire's back." What are your thoughts on the Pats? How do you think they've been so far?
It's so funny because I'm such a fan of my team. I very rarely look outside my bubble, how other teams are performing. But there's certain teams that start hitting your radar, and you're like, "Okay, what's happening over there?" I wouldn't call you the evil empire. I'd be calling you the Stranger Things, because this is the upside down for your year.
Love it. I love that.
When you flip it around like that, impressive turnaround. Like, we all know what Vrabel was going to bring, didn't we?
Accountability, toughness.
Yeah. He demands results and stuff, and as a head coach we went up against a few times. He was on our coaching staff for a while, and when he was at Tennessee, we used to have to go up against his tough teams twice a year, so it's going to be no different. But I think there's depending on how long you've watched this sport, some of us are a bit younger than others, and we haven't been in it as long. Like, I've been watching properly since 2008, following the Texans, and I was always used to the Patriots being one of these powerhouses that you always, like, you just had to they were the team you had to get past if you wanted to do anything in the AFC. The Chiefs took that over for a while, but I'm not saying that the mantle's swinging back in your favor, but it's obviously a good start for you to feel good about your team again. You've owned us in the divisional round the last 2 times we've went up there. I think one of the times we took Brock Osweiler with us. So yeah, I'm very impressive turnaround for the season. I'm not going to go into any statistical matters on it, but a lot of people, did you not have an easy strength of schedule this year?
I mean,
I'll bring it up,
Yeah, I know everyone brings it up. Everyone has someone comes on. But listen, it's just.
But you have to win.
You have to beat what's put in front of you.
Yeah, absolutely have to.
If you've got a load of tomato cans, here's the bit: when you are a rebuilding franchise, you want to pull yourself away from literally all the other drain dwellers. So the only way you do it is knock out the bad teams, compete against the mediocre, and if you can try and get 1 or 2 wins out of a good team, I don't know. As I said, like the one game against the Bills, 1 game against the Bucks, 1 game against the Ravens, maybe, then people might start talking. But the fact New England have just nearly knocked everyone down, bar obviously the Bills in week 15, and that was when we were coming off a bye, and also we had no Milton Williams as well in that game. New England have been absolutely flawless, but people said we're not battle hardened, not battle tested, or the running towards the Super Bowl could be the case of the Chargers, who has a very good defense, the Texans, which is the number 1 defense in the NFL, could be flipping Denver, who are the 2nd best defense in the NFL, and then we'll probably have to play. And if it
probably Seattle, maybe
it's probably going to be Seattle or LA or the Rams. So at the end of the day, we will get battle tested during the postseason, because guess what? That's what builds you towards the very end. But
this is this could be statement victories for you all the way, just to shut everyone up.
It should be. What have you made of Drake May this season?
I think he's been outstanding. I'm all right with that. That's my personal opinion on him. I think he's been an outstanding quarterback. He's been steady. I think he's been far more poised than we've had in our offense. think he's commanded the offense quite well from what I've seen of him. I just want, he played the Chargers defense, good defense. Let's just see how well he stands up against our D.
Yeah.
Mobile quarterbacks are very hard to get after, but like this season, we managed to sack Josh Allen 8 times. So, and he's one of the biggest mobile quarterbacks to get down. He carries whole teams on his back. So
He is. The only thing I would say is slightly different is that, the Bills have got no receivers.
Yeah, so he had to do all himself,
Yes, he wanted to. Drake May's going
to
Drake May's going to get the help he needs. There was something that I saw online later on today, and if the Texans play cover 2, there's a good chance that Drake May's going to take a lot of hole shots. He's going to take the shots to Booty. He's going to take the shot to Hunter, to Diggs. I think that's going to be something that I know you play a lot more zone than what you do man coverage, but Drake May struggles a lot with man coverage and not zone. So I just wonder if Demeco Ryan might just flip it in this game, play more man rather than play zone.
Yeah, the potential's there. I'm all prepared for us to give up chunk plays. We have been bad for giving up chunk plays this season. We do give up huge air shots. As good as our defense is, we sometimes get lost in our assignment. There's been a couple of busted coverages, but we bend and don't break when it gets into the tough stuff. But when there's a lot of open field behind you, sometimes see quarterbacks just having a ping at us. So I'm expecting Drake, if the conditions are right, to be able to ping off some of them, which I absolutely hate because I just see them as momentum builders, when you're playing in these games. There's nothing worse when you're playing away and the home offense like pings a 40-yarder on you. So I think he's going to have a few of them.
Just want to ask you, genuine question. There have been a couple of games in recent times for you guys on the defensive side of the ball where we know what a fantastic defense you are, but it just completely confused me. And that was that the Raiders ran you so close a few weeks ago, and then you shipped 30 points to Riley Leonard. And I can't wrap my head around how the fact that this almighty defense that is scary to watch, like arguably the best in the league, like could be ran so close by the Raiders and give up 30 points to Leonard. Like, was that just an anomaly, or like what actually happened?
I don't want to play devil's advocate here, but I believe that game against the Colts was week 18, and
yeah,
and that game was pretty much dead and buried anyway.
Yeah, well, I'll say that the Raiders game for me was I had been telling people around me that I could absolutely see that game being a banana skin game for us.
Yes, we do.
It's one of those teams that just they haven't been playing well. You're going in there with a lot of momentum, and then you just slip and fall on your arse. I just absolutely seen the Raiders as that team for us. As for Leonard, after we seen how far the Jags were up on the Tennessee Titans, the division was lost. There was no need to play anyone else. All the starters got pulled in the second half. So he was playing up against like second and thirds. So we did enough to win the game. But Money Mills seen us home in that game, so it was fine. But yeah, that's why we got ran so close in that final game, is because there was nothing for us to. I actually think Demeco would have taken the loss. It didn't actually matter at that point to him. Nice to get the win though.
Let's go through the tail of the tape, shall we? Obviously, let's start with the defensive side of the ball first. Obviously, rank you're number 1 in the NFL. We're ranked 8th. Rush defense, you're ranked 4th. We're ranked 5th. So I think trying to run the ball for both teams is going to be a bit of a grind. If it's only like 2 yards a carry, 3 yards a carry, it's not going to be pretty. So that will show. Pass defense, you're ranked 6th. We're ranked 9th, so not a lot in it. Points allowed. You allow 17.4 points, which is second in the NFL. We only give up 18.8, which is ranked 4. Again, it's tight across the board. Sacks allowed. We've allowed more sacks than you, 48-31, but you've given up more yards than our sacks, and that is because most of the sacks taken has been when Drake May's been trying to run out of the pocket. He's even said 2/3 of the sacks that he's taken are all his fault because he's running out of the pocket and someone's caught him before the line of scrimmage. Is that total touchdown scored 58-38 for the Patriots. Penalties. You are penalized more, nearly 20 penalties more than us, 118-99. Is that ranked like in the top 10 of the NFL in penalties?
It must be awful. We are an awful penalised team. We've been awful at getting penalised for years, and I thought it was going to improve with Laramie Tunzel's false starts disappearing, but someone else has just pulled up the mantle, and it continues to go. Usually when we pull in Blake Fisher, he's good for a flag or two. He comes in for one play, gets flagged, gets hooked. We change the play, but now we're usually 5 yards worse off for it. So yeah, I feel like we're always heavily penalised. The Chargers game, I think we got penalised for things that we shouldn't have, and I know a lot of teams say that, but the Chargers didn't actually pick up a flag until the fourth quarter in that game. And one of their 2 flags, I think, that they got in that quarter was the one that they say cost them the game. So, like, all you heard was about their one bad flag that they got, and not the fact that there were so many bad ones thrown against us. But yeah, we do run the knife, when we're trying to get after the quarterback. We do have a lot of pre-snap penalties on the offensive line. Even at the Steelers there, Trent Brown was jumping, when he's lined up against TJ Watt. That's the worry. I think that's maybe where the influence will come in your game, is your ability to make our offensive line skittish with your pass rush, maybe jump, put us back. And we don't often operate well under these long third down situations. Not a lot of teams do, but we seem to struggle even more. I think another place that you could probably catch us out on defense is we've been very poor at punching it in the red zone. Very poor.
Same as us. We've been struggling to punch into the red zone. Although we did it,
Was that?
The Jets and the Dolphins, but that's the Jets and the Dolphins, so it's not really a good barometer to use on that one. But one thing we noticed as well from last week against the Chargers, our defense didn't give up a single touchdown. Yeah. Now, I don't recall that ever happening in the season at all, and our red zone defense has been our biggest issue. But it seems like we got the stop we needed, but I think that was just bad play calling. The right play call in, and that probably goes in for a touchdown. I'm looking at this game and thinking it's going to be tight, it's going to be close, and people were saying the 40 the point spread is like 40 and a half, and people are definitely taking the under.
Okay,
I've got no issues with that whatsoever, because I think it is going to be it will end up being like the Chargers game. It's got that same sort of scoreline to it. What it will come down to me, from my point of view, is can our offensive line won't be able to stop your pass rush, because no one can, but can they stem the bleeding enough for Drake May to make plays? And then the second one, CJ Stroud, he cannot have a game like he had last week. Now, the fumbles, I think they'll get cleaned up. Jake Andrews, former Patriot of ours, not very good, but former Patriot of ours, really needs to snap the ball properly this time round. Because if New England are very good at anything, they're very good at recovering the ball off the snap. So CJ Stroud needs to have a better game. He needs to have time. But the thing is, though, his main target, Nico Collins, is not there. And it was a major problem for him. I just want to take you back to, obviously, our game in 2024. Your 3 receivers at the time, well, your three biggest contributors in the passing game were Stephon Diggs, who is now with us, Tank Dell, who is on injured reserve, and Joe Mixon, who's on injured reserve. All the rest of your receivers combined a grand total of 29 receiving yards.
Yeah.
How is that a slight concern? with obviously no Nico Collins, but obviously, and also with the secondary that you're playing is a hell of a lot different, and the defense of us is a hell of a lot different compared to what you played against last year. I think there's only like 7 players from that defense that are still on the roster, and only one of them is the main starter, which was Gonzo.
Yeah, so it's a huge turnaround.
Huge turnaround.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a concern that Nico isn't there as the main target, but I don't know if you feel this about the Patriots ever, that sometimes when your main target goes down, that breeds opportunity for other people. Mm-hmm. You know, the quarterback isn't so locked in on the guy. You know, he starts going, he goes through his progressions a little better, and he doesn't spend too much time on that one forced pass to your main wideout. That's how I see this game going. I think we're going to see a lot of different names getting the ball downfield. I think he's going to start spreading it out a little bit more confidence in doing that. And he's not going to just lock in on Nico. And to be fair, Nico's been... I've actually been waiting for an injury like this all season, because he has been catching some horrible hospital balls over the middle.
Yeah.
You know, he's been... You expect him to turn upfield and stretch and win it with his size downfield, but he's been coming across the middle and using his size. And it's only a matter of time before either you get your clock cleaned or something happens the way it happened for him last week, you know, unfortunately, hitting his head off the turf so hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's concerning. It's been a shame we haven't had Mixon all season. Nobody's really come out as to a reason why he's been out, you know, unspecified foot injury. I've seen rumors, but you don't want to say any of them in case they're not true and you get slandered. But yeah, it's been a shame we haven't had him. But again, that's why we went out and got Chubb. Rudy Marks has won the position. You know, you have young, fast, fresh guys like Jawar Jordan who can accelerate. I think he went off for 100 yards in his first game. So yeah, it's concerning but manageable. I know that you guys score more points than us in games. That's what concerns me more.
The magic number, I think, for everyone when they play against you is like 20 points. That's the magic number everyone thinks of. If we get over 20 points, do you think that's when the Texans then will be on the back foot? And then you're gonna have to ask CJ Stroud to just, now's your time to shine. Yeah,
I think you'll see Miko going for it on fourth a lot, which is a crapshoot sometimes. We have
Did Demeco go for it on fourth down a lot? I feel like he's one of the most conservative coaches that go for it on fourth down.
No, he does, and usually in the wrong time. You know, it's easy to say that in hindsight and be an armchair quarterback or an armchair coach, but usually it's the times that you do want him to go for it. He's the conservative coach.
Yeah, no, I only heard that from one of the leading media people. Apparently, that apparently he's one of the more conservative coaches. Clearly, Mike Florio knows absolutely all about the situation. So
well, I generally he probably is correct. It's just when you're watching him all the time, you know, when you're watching the games all the time, and he does go for it, you're like, why in this situation are we going?
Okay, we're gonna get into the predictions now.
Just before we get into predictions, there's a couple of really fascinating 1v1 battles in this game. So the first one is Will Anderson Jr. against Will Campbell, the Battle of the Wills.
Alabama versus LSU.
One hell of a fight in college when LSU played Alabama. If you look back at some of the tape, they were really going at it the whole game. Like that was a real show of incredible talent between the two of them. And then the other one is the ex-LSU teammates, Kayshon Boutte and Derek Stingley. Obviously, remember back to last season where Boutte burned Stingley for the long touchdown, May's first career touchdown pass. So I think they're two really important battles because naturally, obviously, Will Anderson is one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. Will Campbell is our left tackle. We're going to need him to have a much better game than he had the other night to hold up. And then Boutte will be our primary outside receiver with Diggs playing in the slot. So he's now going up against Stingley, who's an all-pro corner, and that battle is going to be so important for both sides because for us, Booty is our deep threat. Like he's the one that can take the top off and contested catches and stuff. And then obviously you're going to need your all-pro corner to try and erase that threat. So I think those two battles in particular are really, really underrated. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, like the Stingley and the Booty one, it's so funny because when teams seem to be playing against us this year, they usually shut down Stingley's side. Like they don't even look at Stingley's side. So it'll be really interesting if the Patriots say, look, we're going to go after Stingley because he doesn't get tested really throughout the season. No one really goes after him. And when they do, they don't have a lot of success. But if you can get those early battles won against him, that opens up the whole field for you. Whereas most teams like leave his side off. And as for Will Anderson going up against Will, yeah, that'll be a battle. But a lot of people forget just how well. No one really does forget. Sorry, I'm saying that a bit wrong. Because our two edge rushers are so good, most teams don't have two really high caliber edge rushers like us. So the left tackle never really gets a break. When the guys decide to swap, and the left tackle maybe go, right, okay, I'm maybe going to get a couple of snaps that are maybe a bit easier on me this time. It's Daniil Hunter that lines up against you, and I think it's an absolute travesty he didn't make the Pro Bowl. JJ Watt's been singing his praises, saying he's a future Hall of Famer. His production is so high. He's so athletic. He's so strong that I think it'll be a matter of, depending where Will Anderson lines up, will Daniil Hunter have already worn your left tackle out? And then Will comes over, and then the battle could be won at that point, But if it's one-on-one, I think it'll be very interesting. I think they'll both take scalps through the game, back and forward, yeah.
So we're going to get into our picks now. But the first thing first, I wanted to say a shout out to this guy in the comments, Brandon Harlan 51. Big up to you, bro. I know you're obviously a Texans fan. Make sure you smash the like button. I just want to pull you up on what you just said here. First game Texans played without Nico this season. They dropped 44 points on the road. So on that 44-10 road win against the Ravens, Nico Collins had 4 receptions, 52 yards and a touchdown. So you might want to do your research a little bit, mate, just in all due honesty, because Nico did play in that game. Just letting you know. Right. Sorry, I don't want to do that, but I do want to speak facts on this show. Right. Graeme, we're going to throw the ball to you first. We defer to you. Prediction for this game. What are you going for?
Well, you said at the start we're all going to be homers, aren't we? So yes. I'm going to go Texans for the win, 24-10.
24-10. 24-10.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we going to concede 24 at home? I don't know.
I don't know if you'll go concede them all on offense.
Oh, you're thinking of a defensive score, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah. Now it makes a bit more sense. Okay. Kieran, what have you gone for?
Yeah, I feel like I would be very, very surprised and incredibly disappointed if we lose by 14 points at home. I think that's a little bit ambitious, but then again, you did just win by 24 at Pittsburgh, so I could see why you're leaning towards that. I would not be shocked if this is another game like the Chargers in terms of like under 20 points in total in the game. I'm going to go slightly more than that though. I feel like the handicap line, New England are 3-point favorites. I feel like that's about right. I'm going to take New England 20-16. Really tight game. Think it will be within a handful of points. But I think we'll just edge it at home by 4.
Bingo, bongo, bango. Exactly what I've gone for as well.
Same explanation. Just nailed it.
2016, I've gone for as well. Just let you know, our producer DJ, he's gone for a 17-7 Patriots win. That's very low. And Nick's gone for 2017 Patriots. So it's literally 1 point between. What the hell are we doing here? So yeah, that's what we got on our pick-em list for this one. All predicted. We'll put them up on Instagram. We'll put them up on X after the show ends as well, so everyone can have a look and see. We will now pick our games for the rest of the divisional round. Obviously, we start off with the most important one, which is, of course, Bills or Broncos.
Do I have to give a score?
Don't have to give a score, just a prediction.
Bills.
We're going Bills. Yes.
I feel like a lot of people are picking the Bills, actually. I've seen so many people on different networks and podcasts and stuff picking Buffalo. Josh Allen's going to need to play insanely well for them to have a chance in this game. They're just so short-handed on the offensive side of the ball. As much as I don't trust the Denver offense, I just think the Broncos will just beat them with defense. So I'm going to take Denver, but I just think that I've been saying all along, though, Carl, that it wouldn't shock me if Denver go one and done, because I think they're a little bit of a, I don't know. They've won 14 games like we did. Everyone's doubting us, with the strength of schedule. But you watch the Broncos offense and you think, I cannot believe this team won 14 games. So if they lose, I'm not going to be surprised, but I'm going to take them to win just basically because Buffalo are so banged up.
And they've also got barely no receivers either. Okay. I'm going to go with the Bills. Until Josh Allen completely gets carted off, I don't think it's anybody else but Josh Allen. I don't trust Bo Picks. I really don't. So, yeah, I'm going to take the Bills in this one. And
I need it to be the Bills.
You want that? You want another smacking, don't you?
Yeah, I need it to be the Bills, and I want us to win. And then you'll see an AFC Championship game in Houston
for the first time
we've ever been there
since the Oilers. I don't want to give you PTSD over the but
I can quite clearly say, Graham, that if you do beat us this weekend and Buffalo win as well, we will be completely on your side next week.
Oh, yeah.
I've got the bandwagon forms, printing off just now.
Okay, so we're going for... So that's me for the Bills. That's Graham for the Bills, and Kieran has gone for the Broncos. Okay. Seahawks. After their bye week, they are the number 1 seed. They host the San Francisco 49ers. Kieran, we'll throw this one to you first.
Yeah. I think this is probably the easiest one to predict on the slate, and that's no disrespect to the 49ers, but 2 weeks ago, these teams played in week 18 and Seattle absolutely pantsed them. It was 13-3. And the 49ers are the most banged up team in the NFL. We just spoke about Buffalo being banged up, but San Francisco are just hanging on by a thread at the moment. And I massively respect what they've done this season, considering the injuries they've had. And obviously Kittle went and snapped his Achilles in the last game. And to get where they've done is an incredible coaching job by Kyle Shanahan, but I just don't see them winning on the road in Seattle, having just been beaten by them 2 weeks ago against that defense in that environment. I think it's a stretch. So I think Seattle were the biggest banker of the weekend.
Okay, Graham?
Yeah, you can't argue with that, can you? San Francisco really banged up. Seattle looking really mean on defense. I would love the 49ers to progress just because the long snapper, John Weeks, massive John Weeks fan. He played for the Texans for 14 seasons on the bounce, one of the longest active play streaks in the league. But I think the Seahawks are going to be too much. So Seahawks.
Yeah, I am going to take Seattle in this one as well. As much as I think they're a very young team and they might be sluggish out the gate, I just think they'll win the time possession. They'll get the running game going. And we'll need to see as well how Sam Darnold gets on in his, it's not his first playoff game. It'll be his second playoff game, but we'll see what happens in that one. And then the last one. This one's going to be very entertaining. Rams at Bears. Supposed to be in some of the most frigid conditions. You thought going into Foxborough was going to be cold. Oh, no. Chicago just said, hold my ice.
Yeah, I've just seen the snowstorm images. It looks very, very snowy in Chicago at the moment.
I'm so glad I'm going to be snuggled up in bed with a hot chocolate while watching this one. Graeme, who you got this one? Rams or Bears?
This one's really tough. Really, really tough. I think the Rams are the stronger team, but the Bears have just been getting it done in that fourth quarter. But I think I'm going to go with my actual head here, and I think the LA Rams, if they can blot out the cold, they'll do all right. Stafford will take over.
Okay, Kieran?
I'm going the opposite way again. I'm taking Chicago at home in the snow against that West Coast warm weather team. I think the Rams have been riding their luck a little bit in the last few weeks. You know, they've not played massively well. They only just got past the Panthers the other night. Stafford's had a tremendous season, don't get me wrong, but you can only throw so many touchdown passes inside the 10-yard line to pad your stats. Yeah, I don't know. Chicago need to stop playing like bums in the first half if they're going to win this game, because they seem to be coming back in the second half really well and finishing games strong, but it seems to be that they can't get off the schneid to start with. So they need to start strong, get that crowd behind them, let the weather, play a factor, and I think they'll do it. I think the Rams are quite. What's the point spread on this one, Carl? I think the Rams are quite heavily favoured, aren't they?
I think they are favoured, but not by much. Hang on, let me just take a look.
When I looked at them earlier, they were 1-2 on the money line for, and Chicago were Chicago 7-4 to win.
Rams are favoured by 4.
Yeah, so 4 points. I don't see it. I'm taking Chicago. Yeah, I feel at home. Something special's brewing in Chicago. Like, it feels like there's a lot of momentum for them at the moment, even though they're not.
I generally do. I know we've got our guest on here, but especially in the NFL, are going to try and make it a Bears Patriots Super Bowl. Caleb Williams versus Drake May, and he's shaking his head in disgust.
No, I've said all along, if you want absolute cinema and you want a high-scoring Super Bowl, that's the game.
That'll be. No, I can't. No, because because I play in my main fantasy league, all our guys are within half an hour distance of each other. We always meet for the Super Bowl. It's always at one of our houses, and we always do touchdown tequilas. Fuck me, that Chiefs Eagles Super Bowl, that nearly killed me. It nearly killed me.
If that's the Super Bowl you're hoping for, that'll be a lot higher scoring than the one I got to go to. In Atlanta against the Rams.
Oh God, yeah, that was a snooze fest.
Yeah, I was one of the few folk that was loving it up in the stands. A lot of defense getting played, and I was like, yeah, this is actually quite good. As folk were grumbling and moaning to me all game.
So, Kieran, what about you?
Yeah, I said Chicago.
You're taking Chicago.
Yeah,
going to take in Rams. Matt Stafford's wearing a scuba suit for this game, I think.
Scuba Steve.
I don't want to pick the Bears. I think Caleb Williams is just fucking mid. I really do. He can't make the basic throws, and yet you stick him on a highlight reel, and people will think, "Wow, he's the best quarterback in the world." No, he can't make the simple dump offs. I'm going to stick with my guns in. I'm going to go Rams. I'm going to take LA to get this. I know it's a cold weather stadium, but it's not like Stafford hasn't played in the cold before. He did play in Detroit for many, many, many years. So he's played it. Yeah, but he's also played at Lambeau Field. He's played at Soldier Field. He played at the Viking Stadium before they built that glass-laden stadium in which freaking birds fly into the glass too much. So yeah. I think we'll go with those picks. I'll get them printed out later on today. Graeme, Thank you so much for coming on, mate. It is much appreciated. Your links are all down in the description below, so make sure you go check out Graeme, give him a follow, give him a like. What have you got coming up? I mean, you got your own podcast at all, or
No. I know how much work you guys put into these things, and I just haven't found a way to make the time to do it myself yet, or at all. But yeah, I've got a couple of pods coming up with some of the guys up this way. The Tartan Touchdown podcast coming out of Scotland. So those guys will have them on Monday, and we're going to pick the bones of this weekend and see how it went. But yeah, apart from that, no, you'll just say to see me on a Sunday night.
Okay. Thank you for coming on, mate. Much appreciated. Kieran, as always, thank you very much. I'll see you. Right. Hang on, am I seeing you on Tuesday night, or are you not?
No, I don't think you are. I'm not sure when my next one is. Got a bit of a busy schedule coming up, but yeah, I'm sure I'll be back on at some point.
So you're questionable, basically.
I am questionable, yeah.
You're questionable, Jesus. Okay, fair enough, then. Right. We're going to get on out of it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Please make sure you smash the like button on the way out. Gronk, spike the subscribe button. Tell all your friends. Follow us on social media platforms. And make sure you follow the podcast on Spotify and on Apple as well. Thank you to everyone that has obviously liked and subscribed to us ever since our inception, like 3 years ago now. Getting to 100 episodes has been absolutely phenomenal. And I've got a great group of people that I work with. And obviously, we've had many guests. And obviously, we saved the best till last with Graeme being on. So thank you to everyone that's been on. Thank you to everyone that's watched. Talking is over. We have a game Sunday night. Graeme, may the best team win.
Yep. Same.
Good night. God bless. Go Patriots.
Your soldiers of Gondor, no matter what comes through that gate, you will stand your ground.